Hey, Sammy-doo, Real Estate Duru, wanting to drop another golden nugget in the real estate wholesale business. Listen, if you haven't done your first deal or your second deal yet, don't have a trend in your business, subscribe to this channel, like this channel, because this is where you get real street, real knowledge, the knowledge that you don't get in seminars, don't get in, courses, and frankly, not really on YouTube University. Just some of the secret sauce that seasoned investors have acquired. I've done north of 100 transactions in about 4 years, and got a few things to offer. My mentor has told me it's time to reach one, teach one, and have encouraged me to begin to pull a library out of some information that might help you with your business. So please subscribe and like. Today I want to talk about, you got to get over yourself. You got to get over yourself. This video is going to talk a bit about interpersonal communication skill sets that are necessary to be successful in the real estate business. By way of my own personal personality, I'm an introvert, very private, don't talk much kind of guy. In fact, don't necessarily have an overwhelming desire to be around a bunch of people. I'm one that normally if I'm in a crowd, I'm going to be one that's standing in the back, not talking to anybody. But in business, especially in the real estate business, you have to get over yourself to be able to network and engage with people in order to do that. This business is not an online internet business. This business is not something you're going to be able to do passively by sitting behind a laptop or reading a bunch of books and making a bunch of phone calls. This business can require a balance of, office work as well as getting into street work, and not only getting into street work, but dealing with people. People from sellers, what we call motivated sellers in our industry, as well as buyers, and as well as any of those, types of power team folks in between. You've got to be able to engage with them. And I want to give you a few ideas that will make you comfortable enough to understand the importance of this if you want to get paid. And for one, I might have a little bit of an extra skill set because I did work in the corporate world, and even though I'm an introvert and introvert and a private and non-social type of guy, because of the career that I was in, where I was in a corporate executive with 5,000 folks under my purview, I was also the guy, the man that had to do speaking, whether it's been to small audiences or large audiences. So, and that I needed to do that just to keep my job. So by saying that, not to mention also pastored for a few years as well over, to say that meant that I had to speak, I had to be assertive, and I had to engage and sometimes initiate the engagement in order to get the point across. So with that being said, because it was my job and my a requirement of my job to perform, I had to learn to get over myself. Of course, I was making well over 6 figures, and like I said, I have 5,000 people under my purview, and it was a great job. So when you know that you have a great income source and a great responsibility, you begin to learn the skill sets that you need to learn in order to achieve that type of greatness. And, starting this business, I was obviously able to take some of those skill sets and transfer them into this business. So I learned the importance of going to networking meetings, whether it's your local REIA or some meetup group, or even just a bunch of folks that you knew or that you met somewhere, and being able to go to those types of meetings. In the past, the way I would normally be, I would be the one that's standing in the background, not talking to anybody, just kind of watching everybody. And the meeting's an hour, 2 hours or whatever, and you're eventually over, and then you're kind of walking out. Somebody might come up and say hi. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But I didn't get much out of it because I wasn't putting anything into it. And what I had to learn is sometimes there's a lot of other people in those meetings just like that. They're just as introverted, or more importantly, or more specifically, maybe scared and shy and not wanting to talk to people. And so you'll be surprised that when you go to those meetings, that these are folks just like you that is not comfortable with talking to groups, or talking to a lot of people, or talking while there's a lot of people around. So you could look like the champion when you initiate the conversation to someone that you don't know. You always want to meet people you don't know, because you don't know who they know that you don't know that could be putting money in your pocket someday. So it's always important to increase your network. I've said this before, your net worth is your network. And if you don't have anybody in your network, then your net worth is probably not much, if anything. If you got folks in your network and you're networking up, then your net worth is going to increase, just because of, as they say, birds of a feather flock together, just because of the association of some of that. Your net worth is going to increase, providing that you put, action behind the activities of engaging with folks like that. But, so one of the things I want to let you know is when you go to settings like that, folks are just as uncomfortable as you may be. And you're going to have to get over yourself and even take advantage of what others are not doing, where you get more credibility than they would. But at the end of the day, they're working with you and you're making contacts. Another thing I would tell you is, you're probably wondering why I'm walking past this wall, and that's because my pooch likes to travel the wall. You can see her right there. So, but so this is like her thing, her exercise, 7-year-old. But another thing I would tell you is, you'd be surprised that a lot of folks in the investment arena are very analytical, numbers oriented, and what I used to say with folks that's more into the finance arena, like folks in accounting or bookkeeping, they're bean counters. I call them bean counters. And you'll find a lot of them are very anti-social. I'm going to turn around and go a different way because that truck is very loud and I want to make sure you can hear what I'm talking about. But you'll find a lot of them are anti-social anyway. A lot of them are uncomfortable talking with people anyway. I know a number of wealthy investors that when you meet them in person, they're very awkward in how to relate to you. They like their money and they can count their money, but when it comes to just saying hi and making small talk, they're very awkward, very awkward. A number of them, because a lot of them are mostly into the the numbers and the analytics and things of that nature. Now I'm not saying all of them are, but a lot of them are. So I don't want you to feel any differently as far as how awkward it is to go and meet and engage with people that you don't know. Very important in this business, whether it's introducing yourself to a title company and being able to get inside the title company and mix and mingle with the escrow officer or even the attorney. I know the title company, the one that I use most, at least centrally to me, I can go in that title company and anytime, unannounced, and just sit and throw my feet up on the attorney's desk and chat for a minute. He listens to me because, I bring him business and he does a good job for me here locally. But we got great relationship. Even with the escrow officer, she can have someone that she's closing with and she would come out and talk to me. Just only because I've taken time to nurture and build the relationships. You've got realtor friends that you want to build relationships with, contractors you want to build relationships with. The most awkward one is engaging with the motivated seller. Those are the most awkward ones to build relationships with. But you need to remember this when you're dealing with a motivated seller. A lot of the emotion that could be involved with that makes you feel uncomfortable, because the emotion that's involved with it is not good emotion, it's usually negative emotion. You need to remember that's on their side of the equation. It's not you, and it's nothing personal to you. It's on their side that where the emotions, whether they're going into pre-foreclosure, or they've got this property, they've got so many taxes on it that is, is really smothering them, and or they've got liens and things. But you got to remember, when you're dealing with motivated sellers, the emotion inside the conversation is that energy is coming mostly from them. So if you get in front of them and you're adding more negative energy to it, or you're just plainly uncomfortable, you would never get your business off the ground, nor will you be able to help them out. So you have to just recognize that that energy is coming from them and it's not you. When you're dealing with buyers, I deal with a lot of buyers too that are nothing but bean counters, and they come across kind of sometimes firm and hard and dry. You don't know necessarily how to read them. I'll just tell you, this is just the personality type of folks with a lot of money when they're getting ready to spend money. I know this private lender of mine who has about $7 million of his own personal money out in liens. He actually is a good guy when it comes to conversation, but he is very, 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 very anal retentive when it comes to details. And so when you have a conversation with him, sometimes you find yourself having to say the same thing over and over and over in different ways, because the different ways that you're able to convey that message makes different, there are different details in the way that you convey it, and he's picking up on all those little details, especially when there's some things that he may not know. And so, but once you're able to read the lay of the land, read how the type of personality is, you just have to adjust. There are buyers that, that's all they're doing is looking at the property from a numeric standpoint. They don't know you from Adam's aunt. And, but if the numbers work for them, they're buy. And if the numbers don't work for them, again, don't take it personal. It could just be the niche that they're in from a real estate standpoint, and the numbers and the property just doesn't meet their niche. It could be that they don't have the resources to handle that property. Some properties require certain resources, especially if you're traveling distances to do it.